Chapter 1. Traveling for Sacred Knowledge. The early generations of Muslims, owing to the strength of their desire for sacred knowledge, would journey to distant lands seeking a single prophetic hadith. Abu Ayyub Zaid ibn Khalid al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu traveled from Medina to Egypt for the purpose of meeting a companion because he heard that this companion related a particular hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Similarly, Jabir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anhu, despite hearing much from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, traveled a month to Syria to hear a single hadith. Without hesitation, such men would travel to someone of lesser virtue and learning in order to seek out knowledge that they lacked themselves. A striking example of this sort of journey is what Allah relates in the Quran about Moses alayhi salam, his journey with his young companion. If there ever existed a person who had no need to travel to seek knowledge, it was Moses alayhi salam. For Allah had spoken to him and given him the Torah, in which all divine principles had been revealed. Still, when Allah informed him of a man named Khidr, who had been favored with knowledge, Moses alayhi salam inquired about meeting him and then set out with his young companion to find Khidr. As Allah the Exalted says, "And behold, Moses said to his young companion, I will not cease until I reach where the two seas meet, or I shall spend an exceptionally long time traveling." The Quran, chapter 18, verse 60. Allah then informs us that upon meeting Khidr, Moses alayhi salam asked of him, "May I follow you in order that you may teach me of the knowledge that you have been given?" The Quran, chapter 18, verse 66. Details of their venture are related in the Book of Allah and in the well-known hadith of Ubay ibn Ka'b radiyallahu anhu, which is related by Bukhari and Muslim. Ibn Mas'ud used to say, "I swear by Allah, besides whom there is no other deity, no chapter of the Quran has been revealed except that I know where it was revealed. No verse from the book of Allah has been revealed except that I know why it was revealed. Yet, if I knew anyone more learned than me in the book of Allah, I would make every effort to reach him." Abu Darda radiyallahu anhu said, "If I were unable to explain a verse in the book of Allah and could not find anyone to explain it to me except a man in Bakr al-Ghimad, I would journey to him." Bakr al-Ghimad is the farthest corner of Yemen. Masruq radiyallahu anhu went from Kufa to Basra to ask a man about a Quranic verse. He failed, however, to find in him knowledge about the verse. But while there, he was informed of a knowledgeable man in Syria. He therefore returned to Kufa, from which point he set out for Syria seeking knowledge of the verse. A man traveled from Kufa to Syria to ask Abu Darda about the validity of an oath he had taken. Also, Sa'id ibn Jubair radiyallahu anhu traveled from Kufa to Mecca to ask Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma about the explanation of a single verse of the Quran. Hasan al-Basri radiallahu anhu traveled to Kufa to ask Ka'b ibn Ujra radiallahu anhu about the atonement for al-Adha during the pilgrimage. A thorough exposition of this issue, traveling to seek knowledge, would be exceedingly lengthy. To further illustrate this practice, a man took an oath, the validity of which the jurists were unsure. He was directed to a man in a distant land. It was said to him, "The land is near for anyone concerned about his religion." This saying offers profound advice for one who concerns himself with his religion as much as he concerns himself with his worldly affairs. If something happens involving his religion and he finds no one to ask about it except a person in a far-off land, he would not hesitate to travel to him in order to save his religion. Similarly, if an opportunity were presented to him for some worldly gain in a distant land, he would hasten to it. In the hadith under discussion, Abu Darda gave glad tidings to the person who traveled to him seeking a hadith he heard from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding the virtue of knowledge. This is consistent with the Quran. When those believing in our signs come to you, say, "Peace be unto you. Your Lord has made mercy incumbent upon himself." The Quran, chapter 6, verse 54. Similarly, once a group of students crowded around Hasan al-Basri and his son then spoke harshly to them. Hasan said, "Go easy, my son." He then related this aforementioned verse. Both Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah quote Abu Sa'id as saying, "Indeed, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised the scholars with good treatment of the students of knowledge." Zir ibn Hubaysh radiallahu anhu came to Safwan ibn Asal radiallahu anhu seeking knowledge. Zir said to him, "News has reached me that the angels lower their wings to the students of sacred knowledge." Abu Sufyan also relates this directly from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day, people were crowded at the door of Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, who said, "The students of sacred knowledge deserve the friendship of Allah and eternal bliss." He envied their gathering for this purpose because it leads to eternal bliss. For this reason, Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu cried as his death drew near and said, "I weep at how I will miss feeling thirst from the midday heat from fasting, standing in prayer during the long winter nights, and the crowds of students kneeling around the scholars in the circles of knowledge." It is appropriate that the scholars welcome students and urge them to act on what they learn. Hasan al-Basri greeted his students, "Welcome. May Allah extend your life in peace, and may He enter us all into paradise. Your seeking knowledge is a good act. If you persevere, are truthful, and are absolutely certain of the reward Allah has prepared for you, may Allah have mercy on you. Do not let your share of this good be such that it enters one ear and passes out through the other." One who hasn't seen Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam should know that the Prophet has seen him moving to and fro. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not erect tall buildings. Rather, knowledge was given to him, and he dedicated himself to it. Do not procrastinate. Salvation is at stake. What will make you heed? Are you hesitant? I swear by the Lord of the Kaaba, it is as if Judgment Day is imminent.